The United States military has announced that it has completed transition of its combat forces in Iraq to an advisory role assisting Iraqi forces. Iraq's National Security Advisor Qasim al-Araji made the announcement on Twitter saying, and I quote, "We are officially announcing the end of the coalition forces combat mission," end of quote. This comes after a final round of technical talks to formally end the US-led combat mission, which was tasked with rooting out the Islamic State.
عرض اللواء جون برينان أنه في ضوء عمليات نقل الأفراد والمعدات التي جرت مؤخرا إلى خارج العراق فإن التحالف سينهي بالكامل عملية الانتقال إلى المهام غير القتالية قبل نهاية العام الحالي بموجب ما تم الاتفاق عليه.
The announcement reaffirms a July decision by the administration of US President Joe Biden to end the coalition's combat mission in Iraq by the end of 2021. Speaking on the end of the mission, Coalition Commander Major General John Brennan said many brave men and women gave their lives to ensure Daesh never returns. And as we complete our combat role, we will remain here to advise, assist and enable the Iraqi security forces at the invitation of Republic of Iraq. While the announcement signaled the latest shift in the mission in Iraq since the United States invaded 18 years ago, the move does not reduce the number of American forces in the country. At present, there are about 2,500 American soldiers currently stationed in Iraq. Since July 2020, these troops have been acting as military advisors while guiding the Iraqi forces to take the fight on the terrorists. According to U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth McKenzie, these troops will also air support to Iraqi forces.
The Iraqis, though, still rely on the U.S., I think, for some air support. Do you expect that to continue?
I expect that we will continue to provide some limited support to the Iraqis going forward. But again, it's going to be essentially, by and large, it's going to be a non-combatant process.
In an exclusive conversation with the Associated Press, General McKenzie said that he expects increased number of attacks on U.S. and Iraqi personnel by Iranian-backed terrorists who are determined to get American forces out.
So I think what pushes them then, and through their proxies, and sometimes their proxies acting independently, is a recognition that they're not going to get there legally. So you got to get there through extra legal means, and that it means violence. And so that's why I think, we're seeing a little uptick in it, and that uptick may continue throughout the month of December. We track it very closely. We look at force protection every day for our forces in Iraq and Syria.
American presence in Iraq has long been a flashpoint for Tehran. Tensions between the two spiked last year when former U.S. forces under Donald Trump killed Iran's top general Qasem Soleimani in an airstrike near the Baghdad airport. Since then, Iran-backed terror groups have ramped up attacks against American soldiers and Iraqi officials in an attempt to force a complete withdrawal of U.S. troops. The United States invaded Iraq in 2003. It toppled the then-President Saddam Hussein and helped mold a political system that divided power and resources along sectarian lines. The American deployment in Iraq peaked in 2007 with 170,000 soldiers on Iraqi soil. 4 years later, Washington announced the withdrawal of its forces from Iraq after failing to negotiate a status of forces agreement with the Iraqi government. However, the forces were redeployed in 2014 as the Islamic State grew its influence in the region. The Islamic State was defeated in Iraq in 2017 after offensives by Iraqi forces with the support of the American troops and a coalition that has included more than 80 countries that include UK, France and several Arab nations. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.